Hello there, fellow crafters. This is Mikey from Lost Treasure Designs, and today we're going to be putting together this fun little junk journal. Shouldn't take us too long. This is from I'm using the kit, COZY SNOWMAN, from our collection. And I had one of our subscribers ask me to make this so that they could follow along and make this same thing. If you don't have the snowman kit, that's okay. You can find any paper and make it with us anyway. So let me fold that back down. What you're going to need is 3 pieces of double-sided cardstock. So make sure that there is prints on both sides. And I'm using a pretty heavy, this is 100-pound cardstock. I wouldn't go any thinner than 90-pound. Another thing you're gonna want, I guess this is optional, this is how I did the closure here with this little magnet snap. You could do a velcro snap if you wanted to. But I'll show you how to put that together in a minute there. So now our first step is we're going to want, this is the biggest paper, and I'm going to show you on here. I actually cut it, and then I made a mistake and I actually had to start over, but I'm going to leave this one intact so I don't have to waste paper. So I want to first trim this down so that it is 10 3/4 long, so 10 3/4, and it's going to be 8 1/4 wide this way. If you print your prints like this and it has a trim around it when it prints, normally if you just cut those off, it will be 8 1/4. If that's the way your printer printed it. I ended up having to print it borderless because it was going just a little too far in, which I could probably get away with, but with doing a tutorial, I wanted it to be an exact measurement for you. Okay, so 10 3/4 by 8 1/4. Then I want to score. Move this down. I'm going to actually flip this around, it'll be easier. I'm going to score on the 4 1/2 here. Then I'm going to move this score line over to my 5 1/2. Give myself a score line. Then I'm going to move this score line over to give myself this 1/4 inch, another score line, so I have a 1/4 inch spine, and that's where our spine for the journal is going to be located. So I'm going to set that off to the side. We'll look at that in a minute. Our next page, this is 10 1/2, so it's a 1/4 inch shorter than the other paper that we just did. And you'll notice that this is red and green, this is red and green. It doesn't matter. When it goes together, these are the colors that it will be. But again, you could use different colors and it would be fine. So 10 1/2 by 8 1/4. And then I'm going to score this one, moving this over, and I'm going to score it on the 5 1/2 score line. So move that over. And my next piece, this is the one that I messed up the last time. so I won't do it this time. Okay, I'm going to move this over, and I want this to be 7.5. Save that because you might use it. And we want this one 7.5 by the 8.25. Then make sure that you turn it so that this is our 8.25 going down this way. Our 7.5 is this way. And this is where I messed up. Okay, so now I'm going to move this cutting tool up there so that I don't cut it. I want to move this because I'm going to score this on the 4-inch score. So make sure that this is 8.25 from here to here, and that from here to here is 7.25. Make sure I did that right, 7.25, not 7.5, because nope, I did 7.5. I want 7.25. Measure twice, swear once, right? Okay, move that blade over. Now I want to move this over to the 4-inch and do a score line. Okay, for now, I'll do cutting later, but we'll have a few more cuts with adding pockets and stuff. But this is going to be the front panel. I'm going to go ahead and fold down on that score line. Okay, and then I'm going to grab these other pieces, fold down on this score line, and then this last piece. Fold down on there. Then we also have that spine seam. Fold down. And then this one, I'm going to fold in. Okay. Now this is where it gets a little tricky to do everything. Okay. I want, let me double check, make sure I'm doing what I thought. Okay. So now I'm going to round my corners. This is optional, but this is what I did. I'm rounding it on the 10mm. And I think I can go ahead and round these ones as well. This one, I'm not going to round because this is going to get glued down, but I do want to round this one. And then I'm going to round, even though this is folded, I'm still going to round these corners here. It'll all just be nice and uniform. Okay. So that when you open it up, you do see that, but it'll look good when it's done. Okay, I'm going to start with this piece here, and I'll remind myself I'm going to actually be taking this one, actually I want this the other way. I just flipped it this way because I want the colors to run like this. instead of the other way around. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is this here is going to be a pocket. So I want to run, actually before I do that, I want to add, oh my goodness, sorry guys. Grab this piece. We're going to attach this to the front of this. Sometimes I, when I am making just different journals, I want to like showcase a journal in a video, and I don't really think ahead when I put something together, and I don't write things down, so I have to go back and try to figure out what the heck I did like when I was making it. So I have to kind of remind myself. Okay, so I'm just running some double-side tape. I'm also going to run a little bit of glue because I like to just make sure it stays after put it down. Okay, so this I'm double guessing, okay? Just checking. I'm gonna have this be right up against that fold line. And of course, I think I did it backwards. I did, but that's okay. I'll still have colors running this way, but what I'll do is I'll just flip this in so that it's now turned in that way. Okay, so now that I have this attached, you can kind of see how we did that. We glued this piece down there, and then I just flipped that closed. So now we're going to take this piece, and I like to leave just a little bit of this edge, and I'm going to glue along here and just along the sides, because then I can have this as I want it like that. No, I kind of like it like this. Yeah, I like it like that. I'm gonna make this a pocket. Or maybe I won't. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just remembered what I did. I want one more score line right here. Oh my goodness. I gotta take a break from tutorials because I'm losing my brain. Okay, so I just added, sorry, I should tell you. Here is my original score line. So I added another 1/4 inch just this way. And the reason for that is because I want this to be able to flip back as well. So when I put this down, I'm going to grab, I think I have some thinner tape. And I'm just going to run okay, so then this is going to, I want to give myself just a little bit of an edge. I think it looks kind of nice. And it's just got a little bit of an edge there. I'm going to flatten this down so that I can make sure this is nice and secure. I did this slightly different than the original, but I think I'm going to like it better because I've got like the 3 distinct colors. And this one, I didn't have that. I only had I have 4 distinct colors, and this one we have just 3. If you liked this version, I'm sorry, because now it's this version. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got this flap that'll fold back, and then this will open up. This will then fold back, give us another flap, then this will open, and this will open, and this is where we'll stick the journal, and then this can open up that way. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add one more element of color to this strip right here. And this is going to be 2 1/4 by the 8 1/4. So hopefully, since I did not print this page borderless, so I'm just trimming the white off, and it should be about the 8 1/4, but we're gonna double check. Well, what do you know? It is 8 1/4. Okay, so 8 1/4, and we want it to be 2 1/4. Okay. And then I'm not going to round this edge because I want these edges to apparently it's like slightly off. I think I'm just going to grab some scissors. I left just a tiny bit of that white edge when I sliced it, and it was bothering me. Okay, so I'm not going to cut off or round these edges because I like the straight, but I am going to round this so that it matches these. So once again, the 10mm fluff. I just noticed when I was looking at this that my snowman print, my snowmen are up this way, and so I should have rounded here and not there. So I'm going to cut myself a new piece. But you know what? This is what happens when you're crafting, right? Sometimes things don't work out, and other times you just own it and go with it. Okay, so I'm going back to the 2 1/4, slicing that off. And what do you know, this one hardly has any of those snowmen anyway, but that's okay. Oh, and I've got to trim that off again. Okay, so now, making sure this is going the right direction. I'm going to snap off my corners. Okay, before I put this permanently down, since it's a pocket, I'm just going to ink my sides. I like to cut all my pieces out when I do like a kit and ink them all. And so a lot of times I forget to ink when I'm like putting something together and then I'm like wanting to go back and do it, and sometimes it's easier than others times, but I do like to have the darker edge rather than that super white. Sometimes I can do the two at the same time, but other times it doesn't work. Okay, I think that will about do it. We can also run along these edges just to dress it up a little. Okay, now I'm ready to put this down. I'm only going to put glue along these edges and on the back coming down. Leave those rounded edges open. And then I'm just kind of eyeballing it to have the distance between these two be the same. Give us a little bit of symmetry. And that way we also have the nice distance between each of these. Okay, so now we have a pocket there. Open it. We're gonna put another pocket same size on this side, and you can choose a different paper. I would go with a different color so that it sticks out a little bit better. I only want this to be 8.5. So I'm going to, or 8 1/4. I'm gonna first trim this white off. I can't remember what this measured out to be because I had messed up when I was doing it. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut it down to the 8 1/4. Now I can do my 2 1/4. And so this pocket will go here. And once again, I'm going to round these corners just on one side. Oh, I think I like green better. Yeah, I'm going to do the green there. Just going to ink my sides. Okay. Then just like the other one, just around the edges of 3 sides, leaving that rounded edge unglued. Then I'm going to come, this edge is going to go right in front of that score line. So then get a little side pocket. The kit comes with other pockets that we can put here. The only thing is, whatever you put here, You don't really want to cover it. You don't want it to stick out any further than this flap. Otherwise, you don't have the layered look. It'll kind of look like it's sticking out. So we can add as many pockets and stuff as we want in these. We just don't want them to extend beyond where your flap is going to cover. So I think our next step is going to be adding in that closure piece. So the closure piece, let me look at my notes here. We want a 4 by, trying to decide what color I want as my piece. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with, no, I do want a double-sided. Okay, because I want this to be double-sided, I'm going to use this paper. Okay, I need it to be 4 inches in length. Inches in length and 2.5 inches in width. Okay. Then, if you look in the kit, for this specific kit anyway, there is a circle that has a snowman on it. And that circle measures out to be 3 3 3/4 inches round. So you could either, like, whatever kit you're using, you could do a 3 I always look at 3.75. 3 3/4 inches wide. That's going to be the closure piece. I also want to cut a circle that's going to be 3.5 inches wide. That's going to help cover the... Sorry, I'm trying to move all this stuff that just fell out of that. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to attach this to here. I might flip this over and see if I like that better. I think I like the blue on that rather than the white. Yeah, I think I like the blue. So I'm going to go with the blue side. So I'm just going to run some glue just along this edge. That's probably about 1/2 inch worth of glue. And you can kind of see, this is actually dead center, this line. So you can kind of see how I didn't go quite to the center of this circle. Just enough, because all we want it is just enough to wrap around the back. I forgot to ink these guys up. Now I'm going to flip that back over. Let me see if I've got... You can use this paper here. Now what I want to do is have a 3.5 inch circle here. If you have a punch, you can do that, or you can try to find something that is circular in shape that fits the criteria, which this ribbon happens to do. And I'm just going to lay it down, trace around this. And then I'm just going to cut on the inside of that tracing circle. That way I don't have the weird looking blue marker showing. This is really cosmetic, but it's also going to be holding together our little clasp that's going to keep this guy closed. Okay, save that paper. Okay, so now we're going to go to this guy. This is that magnetic closure, and it's kind of like a brad where it will butterfly open when we punch it through. So I'm going to just kind of look here where this is going to get placed, because it needs to connect to this blue one here. So this piece is actually going to have to be like right there. So the easiest way to do this is to kind of determine where this guy needs to be to wrap around. Okay, so if that's where he needs to be, I'm just going to add some tape and glue, and I'm going to get this guy secured to the back of this. Oh, I've lost my tool. Always find it easier to use a straight edge to cut these off. Okay. Once again, I'm adding tape and I'm adding glue. The tape helps to keep it down straight away, and then the glue helps to really secure it in place. So I'm going to make sure that that is where I want it, and then I'm just going to press this into place. I'm not too concerned about like really flattening the crease of this. I think it's fine just going with an easy fold instead of like a hard fold. Okay, so now that I know where this is at, I might have to turn it this way. I'm afraid that I won't be able to see the marks on this. So if this is here, and that's where I need to put it, this needs to go down. I think it's actually going to end up being center, or about center. If I look at this, it is dead center. Okay, so I was just double checking my measurements on that. Okay, so I've got a piece of foam here. That's going to help me punch some holes. I can find one of my mini hole punchies. Okay, so I'm gonna first take this and turn it upside down, and I'm just gonna kind of push. You could like push all the way through. Oh, look, it already did. You can push all the way through. If not, you can mark it, like do some indentations, then use a pokey tool to push it through. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm pretty sure that it's this one. I always go with the one that's got the nubbin. You got the male and the female. Female is going to go here, and then the male will go in to connect it, because the little latch thing will secure it a little bit better. So I'm going to push this in to there so that it's flat, flip it over, and just like a brad, I'm going to pull these little tabs out on the sides, and it helps to have something to help save your fingers, because those are pretty thick. Okay, so once you have that, make sure it's nice and flat. I even like to kind of push it a little beyond being flat, because it's going to go flat when I glue this down. So then here, I'm going to add some tape. I'm going to put a piece of tape going across. Ooh. My tape has run out, so it's like stuck to the side. Okay. The tape, I think, will just kind of help secure that a little bit better. And run glue. Okay, turn this over. We'll put that down, and it covers up those seams going together and just makes the back of this look a little bit nicer. It also has the whole purpose of holding our little magnetic closure button, I don't know what you call it, thing, snap, magnetic snap. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to connect this here, because as I close this, I'm actually going to use my foam, maybe, I don't know if I think it's too big. I'm going to use this ribbon. I don't even think that's too big. I just want to have, that's better. I don't have my journal pages in there yet, so I want to make sure that this is going to end up where it's going to be when the journal pages are actually there. So I'm just kind of filling where that goes, and then I'm going to just make an indentation in here. I can see and feel it, but another trick is I'm just going to, you know what, the ink works really good too. And you can see where it put my marks for me. So now I can open this up. And now I can put this piece in. And then just like we did with the other one, is that really where it goes? Because that looks really not center. But maybe it's just because that's where we ended up putting it. Yeah, that does not look very even, does it? I think when I moved it down a little bit. So I'm actually going to open this up. And I'm going to have a hole here, but I will cover that in a second. I'm just being super picky, because I don't like things to look off. That'll be better. Okay, that looks a lot more center. I think it's actually gonna, yep, look better than it did. Okay. So now I can go in and I can fix this later by using like a scrap piece and just barely covering that in there so you won't even see it. On the back here, I've got a circle that I just punched out. I'm going to put a little bit of tape over these prongs, these back things. And then I'm going to cover this with glue. Because of where this is placed, you're going to have to flip it upside the other way to really flatten it out. That's actually like, behind it is actually like mending the hole that it made. Okay, that kind of hides the closure there. Okay, now we need to put our journal in here. So we've got our journal pages, and normally I do like just a few because then it does like a few at a time. I'll normally do like 4 pages at a time, fold them, and then sew them this way into it. I'm going to show you another way that I've been doing these that has actually been working out pretty well. So I've got 4 and I've got 4. I'm just going to go ahead and fold these down. So I should double check to make sure that these are all facing the right direction. Those are. Sometimes I've put them in and then noticed that one of them was flipped upside down, and that was a little irksome. Okay, those are all flipped the right way. Okay. So we've got those, they're gonna go in here. So I've shown staples, I think I've shown sewing. So I'm gonna do another way that I do. These are just some book binding needles. So I'm gonna grab one. A lot of times I use this like wax. This is like used for like really heavy duty book binding or leather sewing. Today I'm not going to use such an extreme thread. So I've got some other craft threads. I'm going to go with the green today. I can thread a needle, maybe. quite possibly not. Here's a trick I learned in my days of working for Ballet West. I'm gonna wet down this with a little bit of spit, because, you know, then cut it off. That normally will help keep those fibers together so that you can thread it through. This one is having issues because it's like coming unravel. But you know what, I might just take off that extra piece there. Oh, Mikey, just rethread it. Goodness. Gotta know when to quit. Or to start over. Waste more thread. Oh, that just like instantly comes unraveled. That's the way I like the waxed. Okay. All right. So I've got that. And I am just going to put these guys together for now. You can be all like technical and measure your distances with things. All I'm going to do is turn my little tool here. This is about 1 inch. And I'm just going to use it as my guide to punch a hole. And then bring this over here. And I'm going to punch a hole. So I did that on the fold, in the hole, just like so. Then I'm going to take this, go up through the back, then go down. Sometimes I do 3. I'm just doing 2 because this isn't really that thick of a book, a journal book. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. I'm actually going to attach this into here. I'm just marking where I'm going to go in. And that should line up exactly with these holes. And you'll notice that there is a gap between this top and here. I've left like almost 1/8 of an inch on the top and on the bottom. So I'm just going to put my needle in. because I won't be able to see where my needle is going in on that side. I'm going to have to poke a hole. I'm going to pull this just a little bit tighter because I want enough to tie off. Okay. So now I'm going to tie off right here. Just going to pull it tight. This is going to go underneath here, that I can get to the other side of this to be able to pull it down nice and tight. Once you have it tight, you can then make some knots. And I'm gonna do a double knot, so I'm gonna do I tied a knot, then I'm gonna do a knot, and then I'm gonna go one more time inside this one. This is kind of like a fishing knot if you're tying a lure. And that'll help hold that in. We can then snip these off. So then that keeps your journal nicely in there. I was going to do them separate and do 4 and 4. You just go through the same hole on the back when you do that, but this works too. And that kind of looks nice where you have that green string up against the red. So that is our journal, how to assemble this. There are lots and lots of accessories that come with this specific kit where you can pull out all these pockets and stuff. One thing that I didn't do on the back, because now you've got this on the back, is there are a few covers that come with the kit as well. If you don't have this kit, you could always cut a different paper to put on there. But that is our last step, and then we will have another folio. You just dress it up how you like, and that is that. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or you can reach out to me via the Etsy store. Again, this is the Cozy Snowman. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting.